So, hey everyone, welcome to the third episode of the 2 Weeks to Jobless podcast. I am very, very honored to have Megan with us today from the States. Megan, if you want to say hello and introduce yourself.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, Tyrese. My name is Megan. I'm from Texas. That's where I'm based. Um, and yeah, I've been in the recruiting space for about 2 years now.
Okay, love that, love that. Okay, well, the first guest from the States to appear on the episode on the podcast. So, um, I just want to say that I'm so happy that you've taken the time to give me your time. Also, apologies because I feel like we set a time and then I messed up on the time, and then you've had time in your calendar to make time today to still feature on the podcast. So I'm just really thankful. So I appreciate you so much. Um,
No worries at all. Congrats on the new job. That's
Thank you. Thank
amazing.
you.
No
You
worries at
know,
all.
it's still me trying to find my balance with juggling everything. So, but
Totally
yeah,
understand.
yeah, love that. So, what we're gonna do, we're gonna get into this podcast episode properly with the questions, but I'm just a bit conscious that this meeting's going to end soon because it said I've only got 10 minutes left because I'm on a free trial. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stop the meeting and then we're going to restart the meeting so that we can continue. Okay, so we're back. I just had to restart the recording and we're going to get into this with Megan. So thanks again for your time. So the first question I would like to ask you, how did you get into this situation where you are job hunting?
Yeah, so due to the shifts in the economy, obviously the market, is not great right now. Um, my situation changed because of the market, and I was given an unforeseen opportunity to look for my next challenge. So here I am looking for that 2 months in.
Makes sense what you're saying. And you kind of touched on it just now, but I was going to ask you, how long have you been job hunting?
Yeah, so I've been actively searching for about 2.5 months. Kind of taken breaks along the way. I've done some, side freelancing work. So
Mhm.
um I was focused on that for a bit. And yeah, now that that's kind of wrapped up, I'm back and I'm looking. So yeah, total it's probably been 2.5 months.
Okay, okay. And in that time that you are still looking for your next permanent opportunity, would you still be open to other freelance opportunities as well?
Yeah, for sure. I have no problem with that. I'm only looking for remote opportunities, so yeah, they would have to, as long as they're remote, I'm game.
Cool. I love that. So I'm going to move on to the next question. Have you had any support from maybe like friends or family?
Yeah, for sure. Thankfully, when I left my previous company, almost every single person on my team actually reached out personally to me through phone calls, texts, LinkedIn messages, which I was super shocked about. So that was really sweet that they took it upon themselves to even reach out. And then people from other teams of the company also reached out. And then personally, I've had lots of support from, especially my husband is, yeah, definitely been like my biggest supporter, but friends and family as well. My dad has been really great and supporting everything that's been going on. So it's been really nice. I don't think I could have done it without support from other people.
Oh, I really like that, you have such a strong support network around you, and
Mm-hmm.
especially going through what you're going through, it helps so much. I don't even know if I could put it into words how much it actually helps, having been in that situation as well. So yeah, like it's good that you have
I
that.
think everybody during these times need to find, people that they can kind of lean on because it's really easy to like, for me, if I'm like working, every day, if I'm employed and like I know somebody that's unemployed, it's really easy to get caught up in things. So when
Hmm.
you do find yourself in these situations, like it's really important to like let others know how you're feeling and how they can actually help you, because chances are they do want to help you. They're just so caught up in their own lives that they're not like, it's not a priority to them because it's not their
Mm.
life, you know?
Mm.
So just being vocal and like letting people know like how they can support you, I definitely recommend. I've even had, like, I was talking to an old coworker recently on LinkedIn, and she also was looking for a new job, and
Mm.
she ended up getting a new job really quickly and actually referred me to the job. Just, and you know, we had talked a little bit because we were old coworkers, but
Hmm.
just the fact that she even thought of me when she got a new job was like really sweet that she even
Yeah,
referred me.
yeah. That is really sweet. And it also goes to show you that the connections that you build with people can help tenfold in the future. And you never really know until a moment like that happens.
For sure.
So I think that's really good that you've been able to build or establish some rapport, even if you're not the closest with them. The fact
Yeah,
that there is enough of a connection there for them to refer you speaks volumes. So,
for sure. Yeah. And yeah, it's like you have to, when, you know, this, when you're in the situation, when you find that yourself in the situation, you have to just start thinking, like, go through like your connections on LinkedIn, like, who do you actually talk to, or who's even an acquaintance that you think could help you.
mhm,
Um, and then like look inside like your friend circle, like
mhm,
who works at, you know, a good company that you think that you would like to work at, that, you know, potentially has open roles, you know?
mhm,
So, and then like utilize your family as well. Like if you have people in your family that work at, you know, work in corporate, like
mhm.
how can they help you?
Yeah, yeah,
For sure.
definitely agree with that. Utilizing connections. Um, okay, so I'm gonna touch on the next question. How fair have job application processes been? And do you have an example of either a good or bad process you have been a part of?
Yeah. So unfortunately, it's really hit or miss right now. I think that there's a lot of the hiring process in general is broken.
Mm,
So especially right now, because it's an employer's market, I feel like it's just hit or miss. Like you never know what you're going to get. Like a role could sound great on paper. And this
mhm,
is a specific example for me. A role, like I saw a role come out on LinkedIn, it was fully remote. It completely aligned on paper. Everything I wanted to do was in this job description, and I
mhm,
had the experience to back it up. Got an interview, didn't go so great. I could just tell like once I started talking to the hiring manager that it wasn't a fit, and that's
mhm.
fine. Like I'm totally fine with that. If it's not a fit for either of us, like no worries.
Yeah.
She kept talking about culture and what culture meant at the company, and the whole conversation to her was like surrounded about culture. And I
Mm,
was fine with that. She told me that she would follow up by, you know, end of week at the
mhm,
latest.
mhm,
2 weeks go by, haven't heard anything. I even sent a follow-up thank you email after the interview. Um,
mm,
didn't hear anything. So I finally followed up again 2 weeks later and said, like, hey, still like waiting to hear from you. And I finally heard from her. And obviously, like, I knew that it wasn't a fit for me.
yeah.
But what was crazy was that her, like, when she was talking, it was all about culture,
Mm,
but the interview process did not show like positive culture.
yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, you're saying that, but like your actions aren't lining up with that. Like they're not matching. So
Mm,
that was like a negative experience just on that part. And it's okay because that company obviously isn't a fit for me. And I know that now, even though it sounded like it was on paper. But
mm,
positive experiences, I'm actually in the interview process right now with a really great company, it seems like, because what their first round is, they send an email out to applicants who are moving on in the interview process, and
Mm-hmm.
they outline each step in the interview process and the email. They give exact dates on when you will hear back from them. They even
Mm,
have the date that they will send an offer out. And they attach a video to the email going over the role in more detail and giving you more insight into the company. So I think that that's really great. It was really streamlined. It's really refreshing to see because they're giving exact dates and outlining the entire process, so you never have to like guess what's happening next.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's really nice to see. And I think a lot of companies would really benefit from doing that.
Million percent. I think that is unheard of transparency right there, to have an exact date of when you're hereby, when you even get an offer. I've not heard that. Like,
Yeah, they even had like the potential start date that they would like that candidate to start. So it was
mm,
great. And I told them, I was like, this is so nice to see. Like, keep doing
mm,
this. Even if it doesn't work out with me, like that's a great sign right there that they're a good company.
yeah, and the fact that you even highlighted that to them and applauded them on that, I think they're going to take that away and say, you know what, we are getting it right here.
Mm-hmm,
So
for sure.
I think a
So
lot of companies could definitely take a page out of their books, because that kind of transparency would definitely reduce the amount of anxiety that a lot of job seekers go through.
for
So,
sure. Because
mm,
everything is outlined and every step of the process, they have a date for it.
mhm,
Like, you will hear back no matter what by this date. And this is when we will have interviews lined up for the next round. If you do move to the next interview, this will be
mhm.
the date for that interview. Like, it's great. So yes. And it's so easy to do. The companies, what they have to do is they have to think in advance and plan ahead.
Mhm.
Because they have to make sure everybody's available to participate in those interviews and things like that. But like,
Yeah.
it's so easy to do. Just,
Mm.
plan ahead before you even post the job.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's true. I think that's a very fair point as well, to be fair. Very
For sure.
valid. So, okay, I'm going to touch on the next question. What is your biggest concern around job hunting?
Yeah, I think um I would say like the state of the current market and just how competitive the market is right now. Like, it's no secret that it's a tough market.
Hmm.
It's no secret that it's an employer's market when, not long ago it was a candidate's market.
Yeah.
So I think I'm always constantly having to remind myself when I do apply to jobs, like, why not me? Because I know that there
Mm.
are people out there that have much more experience than me, or they worked at these like fancy tech companies and things like that. Um, so I'm always like in a state of like, yeah, there's going to be all of these applicants, but why not me? Like, if I can articulate my experience well, like there's no reason why I can't even get
Yeah.
an interview. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's just, and I think what we're gonna see soon, probably in the next year or so, it's gonna go back to being a candidate market. And
Hmm.
all of these employers that are trying to make people go back into office right now you're gonna see a shift where it's gonna be a candidates market, and the candidates aren't gonna want to go into office 5 days a
Yeah.
week anymore.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have to, go back to hybrid or remote or whatever the case is to make their employees happy. Because if
Mm.
it's a candidates market, like, the first opportunity a candidate sees to leave their current employer for a remote opportunity, they're going to take that chance to do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say just, just the state of the current market is just a really big concern. And, we never know when it's going to get healthy again. Um,
Mm.
like, I feel like it's all hearsay right now. But I think it's going to happen within the next year. But who knows? And I think also a big concern too right now, it's all about connections and it's about who you know and not what you know, which
Yep.
is which is hard because like if you've exhausted all of your connections, like what are you supposed to do?
Mm,
Not
yeah.
continuing to apply and like trying to make connections with, hiring managers and recruiters. Like that's what you can do.
Mm.
So I know that was a couple of concerns, but yeah,
No, that's
those are
fine. Those are your couple of biggest concerns. So um I think what you were saying about those concerns are very valid again. Because rather than just who you know, it should be based on what you know. Like it's not always going to be like, oh yeah, like you know this person from I don't know, working together or they're a friend of a friend or there being some kind of connection. It does feel like there needs to be that open-mindedness for a lot of companies to just say, you know what, we don't know this person, but how they've presented themselves, how they've articulated their knowledge, how they come across, we want to take our chance on them. And I feel like
yeah,
that's very important. So,
exactly. And it's like, when I first started looking, I utilized those connections and I got like intro calls and phone screenings and it was great. But like the recruiter at the end of the day told me, like, hey, we know that you have a referral or whatever, but we're not hiring right now. Like, it's great that they
mm,
have my information for like the future, but
mm,
they're not hiring right now. So it's like you can only utilize your connections so much. If
yeah,
those companies aren't hiring, then, you know, you have
yeah,
to continue looking and figuring it out. So, and honestly, most of my interviews at this point have come from cold applying.
mm,
So it's not, I know that a lot of what you see on LinkedIn is all about utilizing connections and definitely continue to do that if it helps you. But it's not like the end all be all thing because
mm.
I've gotten most of my interviews from just applying to a role that I felt like I was really well qualified for. So, yeah,
And that's good that um, you know, you've been trying in this and it works. So I'm just hoping that you manage to land your dream job as soon as possible, really. Um,
same here. Yeah, same here. Don't we all? We all just want to be at a good company doing our dream job. I think that
yeah,
that's what we all want. So for sure. I hope that, everybody who's looking right now, I hope that their time comes soon. And I hope that the market kind of shifts a little bit. So more
yeah,
people employed and not unemployed.
I'm with you on that. So we're coming up towards the end of this episode where I asked you for a motivational mantra that you'd print on a t-shirt. And I'm doing a t-shirt giveaway where the most voted motivational mantra will be printed on a t-shirt, and the guest that put forward that motivational mantra will win a free t-shirt. So the question that I'm going to put to you now is what motivational mantra would you print on a t-shirt?
Yeah. Have you ever seen Finding Nemo?
Yes, the first or second one?
The first.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a famous line from Dory the fish
Mhm.
that's just keep swimming. I feel
Oh,
just
I
keep
love that.
swimming is very applicable to job searching. Just keep going, just keep pushing, just keep swimming.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love just keep swimming. And like even the reference, yep.
Yeah. I figured that you've seen it. I mean, it's a really popular movie, but yeah, I haven't seen it in a minute, but when I saw your question beforehand, I was like, this would be perfect for that.
I think that's a great answer. I think that's definitely going to be up there in terms of like what people vote
Yeah,
on.
I hope so. It's motivational, but it's also from Finding Nemo. Who doesn't love Finding Nemo?
Yeah, all the fish lovers gonna come out for that one.
Yeah. Um,
Um, okay, great. Well, we've run through all of the questions. Thank you so much for your time, Megan.
For having me, Tyrese.
You're very welcome. I guess just for any potential employers that might be watching this that are, based in the States, um, do you just want to mention like what would be like the ideal role for you for your next role?
Yeah. Obviously I have some recruiting experience under my belt, so definitely open to continue recruiting. I would love to go internal, and what I mean by that is corporate recruiting.
Hmm.
So specifically corporate recruiting. I'm also interested in people operations roles, so still within the talent acquisition space, just people ops. Also open to like entry level HR roles, since I feel like that aligns well with recruiting as well. So
Hmm. Okay,
yeah, so
okay.
corporate recruiting, people ops, and HR is kind of what
Okay.
I'm most interested in right now.
They all sound really good to be honest. So yeah, I'm hoping something like that comes up fairly soon, sooner
I
than
hope,
later. And
yes.
yeah, thanks again for coming on to the podcast, being our first guest ever from the States. So yeah, thank you so much, Megan.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Tyrese. I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, I will speak to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.